Denver 7 On Demand is brought to you by Ferguson and BAC Appliance Center, the best in bath, kitchen, and lighting for your home.
Good evening. I'm Ann Trujillo with the latest from Denver 7. A 16-minute drive proved to be the difference between life and death and between two Boulder County deputies serving the public and potentially spending years in prison. Those two deputies are facing manslaughter charges tonight for what they did and did not do while transporting a man to a treatment center. Contact 7 Investigates' Ryan Luby reports.
Face down, forced inside, this is where two Boulder County deputies are accused of violating basic training principles in dealing with a severely intoxicated Demetrius Shankling. Records say the 23-year-old with a BAC of .352, nearly 5 times the legal limit, was placed inside on his stomach with his head and neck jammed into a position that cut off his air supply. In shoving the door closed on him, records say the deputies are heard saying, "Adios, muchacho, hasta la vista," and another satisfied customer. Investigators say Shankling was stuck in that position for more than 16 minutes as the deputies drove him to the Addiction Recovery Center. By the time they got there, records show they found his face was blue or purplish gray and that he was unconscious and not breathing. After trips to 2 different hospitals, Shankling died, taken off life support in early October. Deputies James O'Brien and Adam Lund now face felony manslaughter charges. All of this after officers found Shankling on his birthday out on the town on foot with his friends when they determined he needed help, actions that later killed him.
And that was Ryan Luby reporting. Now, Shankling's family is understandably devastated, and their attorney told us today that the family agrees with the decision to file charges against the deputies, and today was apparently the first time they learned specifically how that young man died. A man left paralyzed in a shooting that killed an El Paso County deputy is now suing that slain deputy's estate. That shooting happened a year ago tomorrow when deputies in Colorado Springs police confronted a suspected car thief and found themselves in a shootout. Deputy Micah Flick was killed, as was the suspect, and a bystander named Thomas Villanueva was caught in the crossfire. In a newly filed lawsuit, Villanueva says officers allowed him to continue walking toward their operation, then engaged the suspect despite knowing he was dangerous and likely armed. Villanueva is seeking damages from all agencies and officers involved. And right now, Parks and Wildlife officials are investigating an apparent wildcat attack that seriously injured a man at Horsetooth Mountain Park. That man says he was running today when a big cat jumped on him from behind, leaving him with bites and deep cuts on his face, legs, and back. He is in the hospital tonight, and CPW is working with him to learn more about what happened. The Denver teacher strike is already racking up a big bill. It hasn't even happened yet. Documents show the school district has spent $136,000 organizing lesson plans for substitute teachers. That should cover 2 days of classes. Now, in the meantime, the state has 1 week left to decide if it will intervene in these negotiations. Right now, Governor Polis is asking both sides to sit down one more time before he makes up his mind. And depending on what he decides, a strike could begin in a matter of days or in 6 months. The lease is up and the rent will soon be due for Denver's tiny home community, but all hope is not lost. Denver 7's Thomas Hoppo shows us what comes next for one of Colorado's most beloved innovations.
We are at the Blair Caldwell Library.
Amanda works here in this laundry truck.
Today we're doing free laundry for people on the street.
She takes the clothes of the homeless, gets them cleaned, and is dedicated because she was just like them.
And I came from off the streets. I had been on drugs and came back here. I came here and got cleaned up.
She credits that to a program called the Beloved Community Village. It's a tiny home village dedicated to serving homeless.
Living at the village helped me get my stuff together a lot faster and gave me a great community.
But it's more than just a living space in Rhino. It's a place dedicated to turning lives around like Amanda's.
I lived there for about a year, and now I'm on the board of directors, and I've gotten an apartment now, but this is still really important to me.
Now the village's temporary lease is coming to an end.
They have to be off their current location by March 1st.
The city is deciding to replace it at this empty lot on Pearl Street for $10 a year. However, the city still has to vote on it.
We've been denied locations twice in the last 6 months, and it's frightening. These are people's homes, and they need that stability. So we really need this to go through.
That way they can turn lives around like Amanda's. In Denver, Thomas Hoppo, Denver 7.
And the city plans to review the financing for this proposal tomorrow, and if approved, the lease would have a term of 1 year with options to renew for up to 4 years. This has been your Denver 7 On Demand update. Thank you so much for joining us. Check back here later tonight for another update and download the Denver 7 app for breaking news and alerts. I'm Ann Trujillo.